Ephesians 5 and basically said I would commit my life to you and die for you.
Being mindful of like bringing these moments to God and like actively like praying.
Now we living together and it's all this stuff popping up that is like, oh, this is when the classic, she changed. What's going on, everyone? My name is Robert Bolden, and to my right, I have my wife, Mrs.
Your beautiful wife.
My beautiful wife, I'm sorry. My beautiful, just exquisite, just chef's kiss wife.
Kori Bolden.
Welcome back to another episode of Bolden Matrimony, where we live and love boldly in Christ. I think I'm getting the catch of this. So today we got a interesting story.
Yeah.
One that I didn't think I would make it out of, really.
Yeah. It was inspired by someone, a subscriber, who asked us, why did it take us 5 years to get married?
Why did it take us 5 years to get married? That's I don't even think he knew how he or she, I don't remember, but I don't think they knew how loaded that question actually was.
And we were like, oh, we should actually talk about that. That's a good
Yeah, we appreciate you
idea.
giving us the nudge to talk about this because I think it'll be a funny one.
And so, yeah, please let that be encouragement to continue asking us questions and, dropping comments and engaging with us, because a lot of the things that y'all talk about and ask are good ideas for topics that we can talk about.
Yeah, for sure. So why did it take us 5 years? Did it actually take that long? Like, I know it physically took that long, but do you think we could have did it sooner?
That's a good question. I think I don't know. That's hard to answer.
I'm actually very surprised by your answer.
That's really hard to answer because I have a different perspective on the timing of things. And so I just feel like, the time that it took for us to get married was the time that it needed to take for us to be ready.
Yeah, I say we needed every minute of all of the time that we had to really put this thing together.
Yeah.
Because I kind of, as I look back on it, I kind of see it as stages of Rob. Like, it was isolation, then coming out of that isolation, then like reading a bunch of books and studying. Then it was like having a heart for people and growing closer to you. And like without each of those stages, it's sort of hard for me to see, how I remove one and still keep everything flowing.
And I would say we both had our stages, and it was more so stages of like us becoming like more of who God created us to be, like individually. I feel like as a couple, we were pretty much always in sync, for the most part.
Yeah.
I would say for the most part we were. So it wasn't really, because we didn't really have like just hardship in our relationship to where it was like we have to really overcome this hurdle with like us and how we operate as a couple and how we treat one another, like how we communicate. There was no real like, we had, not to say that we never had challenges, but there was no real like hurdle that we needed to like,
it wasn't anything huge. But it was more so like character development
and mindset. Yeah,
like we were very young in our thinking and mindsets, and I say we sparingly because like I feel like I bear.
But I would say that I would like say that for myself as well, because I think, and what I was getting at was, I started learning a lot about myself, not just in our relationship, but like in other like relationships around me, where God was literally like pruning like very significant relationships in my life where, I've talked about how one big thing for me was people pleasing. And I would like sacrifice like parts of who I was, or sacrifice like, I don't know, the truth to appease other people.
Yeah, people pleaser.
Yeah, to appease other people. I would try to like kind of suppress parts of myself and of yeah. So a lot of things came to light over the course of our relationship where I walked away from the sorority that I pledged. Like I you know, one of my best friends, like we no longer have a relationship. Like there were a lot of significant things happening in my life that kind of forced me to like mature.
Yeah.
Like
There
mature in my
after
thinking.
thing after thing.
Yeah, and not be so like dependent on people to kind of be who I am, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think for me, like I'm gonna just talk about like one thing at a time. Why did it take 5 years? I've shared on other episodes that we've done here as well as with you, but for the most part, and y'all let me know if this is your experience as well, but over the course of my lifetime, I've met some phenomenal women. Like I don't believe in that, like, you know, there's that one person out there for you. I don't really believe that. I believe that if a man know what he want, if a man is like diligent and knows exactly what the vision is and how a woman could help support that, and it's being straight up and honest and all of that kind of stuff, I believe that that man can lead that particular woman and family to exactly where God is.
So
is
you don't
taking them.
believe that that I was specifically like created for you?
I wouldn't. We've had this conversation before.
But I want to have it. Again.
So we gonna have it live this time.
Well, I don't want to go too off the rails.
Yeah, but I don't believe. I'm saying just from my experience, there have been like great women that have been in my life. I just wasn't in the spot to actually lead
the timing. And so to that, I would say I see what you're saying and partially agree, but I kind of feel like it's both. Like I feel like timing and like I do agree that like if the timing is right, if the timing is where you're at a place where you are maturing your thinking, you're ready to commit, and there's a woman like who but is also at a certain level that is complementary to where you are, that you know that could happen.
Yeah.
But I feel like that the way that timing works, and specifically the way that God's timing works, is that there aren't multiple women that you connect with or multiple people that you connect with at a very specific point in time. Like there's typically like one person who you cross paths with, to where at a certain point in your life, like y'all connect in a way that is, you know.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, and I see why you say it could be both.
Yeah.
But alternative to that, just to play like the advocate or the alternative advocate, I want to say that, but for the people who kind of go through that same process, and maybe they are dating a woman who I feel like I'm, you know, in a spot to where I can lead this woman and this and that, and the woman seems to be in a spot to where, you know, our family can go in this direction, and then that doesn't work out. It's just, it kind of just muddies the water to be like, this was the person, you know, this was the one.
Well, then that person wasn't the one.
Well, how do you? That's what I'm saying.
We'll get back to that.
That's
later.
what I'm saying.
It's a very complex topic that I think is worth digging into. But
yeah,
maybe.
But I'm just saying, you know, typically, if a man knows what he wants, the woman, if she's even halfway decent, like in the video before, we talked about the man usually like cultivating his woman and washing her with the water of the word and like pouring into her. that typically takes like the standard of woman that she is, and you see that woman grow just the same as a man.
Yeah, but I think it's also like factoring in personalities. There's some things that I could be, that I'm fine with. Like, I guess I'm trying to think of a better word than tolerable, but like things about you that are tolerable to me that because of our personalities it works, but with another woman, even though she may have been, in a lot of ways had the same values or whatever, y'all personalities could clash. So, there may be elements of you that I'm like, okay, that's fine. It may be annoying, but I'm cool.
Yeah.
And then because of another person's personality, they may not be as tolerant. So, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get it. It's kind of a hard thing to answer.
It's definitely a complex.
Yeah, I don't know. That's my answer. I don't know. However, I do know that, like, and that's not even to say that the girls that I dated before, even if I was at that level and showed up in that way, doesn't guarantee that that ends up in a certain situation.
Yeah.
But for, like you said, God planted me in a season where I was and you were where you were.
Yeah.
And we end up aligning and it end up working out,
And
which is fine.
we have matching little mark things.
Oh,
Y'all, we have like little, like, I don't know what these are. They're like matching birthmarks.
it's on this hand.
It's on this hand.
Well, they won't be able to see. We'll have to take a picture or something.
And we one day we were looking like, oh my gosh, babe, do we have the same mark on our finger?
So because of these marks, we were made to be.
So just scratch everything that we just said.
We were made
for each other.
That's the answer.
Anyway, okay.
But did it take this long? I think it did take all of that time because I needed to really like cultivate like real leadership qualities to.
Yeah.
I just had like lunch with one of my homeboys, and this dude, he got kids, like he's dating, trying to get married, and in that he's previously married before, and he was just explaining how like leadership, you don't get no breaks. Like this is a day in, day out type thing where like your kids, the person that you're dating, if it's your wife, they're literally every day looking for you to perform, to show up and to show up your best. So like that has to be cultivated. That's not something that you just kind of flip a switch on and be like, all right, I'm on. That takes time, and I think that 5-6 years for me, I needed all of that.
And
for sure.
So how do you think, at what point did you, after all of that time, did you realize that you were ready? Like,
that's kind of a loaded question. I don't think it was a moment. I think it was just gradually over time. Like I said, it happened in sections. So like it was that section of isolation where I was doing nothing but reading the Bible, going to work, working out, and kicking it with you.
And then there was a period like during COVID, you had quit your job and decided to like do your business or jumpstart your business full time. BoldenWealthManagement.com.
Yeah, for sure.
So that took time to really like get in a solid place with that. And do you want to kind of talk about that?
Yeah, even that was because I sort of had a immature mindset about that as well, because I work in wealth management. So these are businesses that take time to develop on themselves. Like people aren't going to hand over their life savings to someone that, they don't trust or that isn't out there or credible and things like that. So in my mind, like I know a bunch of people, they trust me. They've seen me for forever. I'm about to go out here and just set the world on fire. And that's that. Like, so I set up to do very well in like the first maybe month or two. And then after I had to serve clients and was taken away from like having to have time to market and actually get more clients, it started off hot and then started to dwindle off.
Yeah.
So like it was a lot of transitions. Like I can do the work, the practical, technical work I can do, but as a business owner now, I actually have to learn more and and things like that. So that even that tested our relationship then, because
Child.
like I had savings, but it wasn't enough savings, and I started dwindling away my savings,
And then we were living separately, which we talked about in another video.
Yeah.
And so it was like, yeah, it was a lot. And, you know, we still were trying to like, I mean, a lot of that happened also during COVID. So I think that was a
Yeah, it was
blessing in disguise, because it was a lot of play. We didn't really have, like, we were just going to the park for
Right.
dates and stuff like that.
Yeah, we weren't
But then
spending
when
a whole
stuff
lot.
did start opening back up, and we, you know, and then we were thirsty to be outside, you know, we
It's like our budget don't accommodate. what
yeah.
we
But
want our
I would be
lifestyle.
kind of footing a lot of the bills. And
Yeah, that
stuff
was
like
hard, too.
that.
I ain't gonna lie.
And, yeah,
'Cause
we
naturally
talked
we-
about a lot of that though.
Yeah, naturally we want to be the one that's, doing all the providing and this, and it takes humility. We just talked about humility. So where like I noticed the woman that I'm at this point I'm locked in. But in this season I'm having to sort of depend on you to kind of carry the weight. That,
Yeah.
that was very uncomfortable.
Yeah. But I just remember, and I shared this with you not long ago, when I was like, yeah, this is hard. I remember we had ordered some takeout, and I was like, you had went in to get the food. And I was sitting in the car, and I was like, man, this is challenging. But I was I was like, this is a little challenging. But I literally said, there is nobody else that I would want to do this with.
Yeah.
Like I would want to do this with anyone else. And I'm just really grateful for this man that I have in my life that I could do challenging seasons with.
Yeah.
So
'Cause I think that brought even more intimacy. We talked
Yeah, it
about
did.
being vulnerable and all that kind of stuff. That was a point where I'm like, look,
yeah.
like for this next however long, this is where it is. This is where I am. This is the game plan, and I kind of need you to do this for me. And your response to that, I think, is what drew me even closer to you, because in a lot of relationships, when the man does that, like I said, that can be used as ammo
Yeah.
to like, I was with you and you ain't had, hold that over people's heads. But that was never the case. Like you showed yourself approved.
Now let's get to the next stage. Now let's get to the stage where he came out of that.
So this
because one of the
I
conversations
don't know what
that
you're
we
talking
had,
about.
one of the conversations we had was, he was like, "Babe, I get some consistency. I'm gonna be ready. We gonna be
So now
ready, right?"
the conversation
so
is
then,
gonna take a little bit of a turn now.
So then what happened next, babe?
I don't
Then
know. You
next
tell the
year,
people what
what
happened.
happened? You got a job offer.
Stuff started looking good. I still had my business. I got a job that just kind of fell out of the sky. Really,
It was God.
literally
That's a whole
God.
nother
Because what I was
testimony.
looking to do was get a position that would pay me frequently and allow for me to gain even more experience and knowledge in the same industry doing the same thing.
And you put out like in your financial group, like the club that
So
you're
there's
part of?
a financial planning group, XYPN, where it's all financial advisors, and you just pay to have access to this community.
Mm-hmm.
And I basically just put a job posting on a job board and just threw it out there, and it was like 3 or 4 people that bid, and I got an offer like within, I don't know how long it was.
That was twice as much as you were. Like,
Yeah, because
praying
originally
for.
I was thinking about just doing like an odd job, just drive some
Yeah.
Uber or just make some money on the side.
Amazon.
Do on Amazon. I actually applied for a lot of those, but
And it was nothing was happening.
no, and that would have required way more work. Like,
Yeah,
and it wouldn't have been
time.
work that was actually helping to further my career. So this position literally kind of just fell out of the sky.
Yeah.
So we're like way more money than I was expecting. The benefits, everything was like
Yeah.
phenomenal. So you
Yeah.
can go ahead with the rest.
So then he gets the day that he gets an offer. We're so happy. We're just like walking around. Like both of us work remote. well, at this time you had just gotten your offer,
Yeah.
but you had like a
They got like
membership at a co-working
office.
space. And so we're just walking out of there, and there's this jewelry store across the street.
Literally right across the street.
And I'm like, babe, we should go get my ring size, like my ring finger size. So we go in there, and that's actually, we find the engagement ring. I immediately find the ring, like the band, and then I already knew this, like the cut that I wanted. And so, like, this is the ring I have on now. And so this was like in February of 2022.
I think that's right.
Yeah, February of 2022. Yeah, because you've been...
Yeah. Yep, that's right.
And I was like,
Oh, boy.
okay, so he know what ring I want, and he know my ring size. All right, he done got a new job. We good to go. So then, what happened, babe? What happened?
Well, you know, I was having some car issues.
That, babe, really, really?
All right. So, here's what happened.
About to start a fire.
So, all right. So, Kori, so in this time, we hadn't been really like going out on dates and stuff like that because we were so focused on like me starting this new job and getting things going and saving money and, you know, just setting the foundation again. So, when things start picking up and things start going well, for me, I'm thinking, all right, it's been a while before we've gotten out. Like, let me set up a time and date to.
You skipped a step.
I see. Yeah.
You were talking about car trouble. So anyway, okay. Listen, I'm gonna let you finish real quick. So Rob, he loves classic cars. So he came across a deal for a classic car. What year Marauder? Babe?
It's a 03 Marauder, Mercury Marauder.
Yeah.
Like a Detroit classic type car.
So he was like, "Oh, I got a deal, but
Yeah, that's a pretty
this
important
Marauder."
step
So he got the Marauder.
I got the Marauder.
And all this time, I'm thinking, okay, you know, he got the Marauder. Mind you, I'm thinking like he putting stuff together to, you know, get my ring and get engaged, like propose and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So then he gets the Marauder, and then what do you do, baby? Plan a day.
I planned a date because going back to we hadn't been out in a while. I'm thinking, you know, things are going well. We hadn't been out in a while. Just got the new car. We're gonna get out, enjoy ourselves.
He had just got the car.
I just got the car.
Mm-hmm.
And her expectation at that point, which was unbeknownst to me, was that I would also have the car plus the ring to go ahead and propose engagement.
Yeah.
But I didn't do that.
Yeah. So he planned this whole date. And by the end of the day, like literally the whole day, I'm looking over my shoulder, like, because I'm thinking he definitely proposing.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking over my shoulder the whole date, like.
So here's the thing. I was thinking about proposing to her in Q4 of that year. I had not designated a specific like time, day, all that kind of stuff.
Which you should have.
I should have, but I hadn't got there yet. And we'll probably have to talk about this too, because I feel like a lot of men.
Yeah, that would be a good topic.
I feel like a lot of men do this. In our minds, we kind of prep and go through stuff, but we don't put it on paper to make it like legitimate
Specific
and actionable.
Timeline.
So,
Terry back there nodding his head.
Terry know what's going on in my. So in my mind, here it is. I drive a 2008 Chevy Impala, which I've had since 2014. It's got like over 230 miles, still drives perfectly fine, but it's getting old. It's getting to the point to where I need to have something as a backup.
Started on that.
So here's my rationale, and I'm sure my fellas would agree with me here. I got an older car. My car is about to go. It could go out at any time.
And which car is in the shop right now?
That is Absurd of you to say. Wow.
Which car is in the shop right now?
Wow.
Please tell them
You
that.
are you are something else. That you are something else. Wow.
You want to edit that part?
Wow.
Anyway, see, this is why
I'm glad to gather
This is a
myself.
prolonged episode. This is why it took so long for us to get married. The fact this should show.
I don't even know where this is going anymore. I just
Go ahead,
hey,
babe.
bro. But besides any of that, besides which cars in the shop, blah blah blah. I made a decision to get the car so that I could have it as a backup just in case something happened to the Impala. I got it at a deep discount. It's a classic car. It's nice. We can get out in the summertime. That's my rationale behind doing it. And I knew I still would have at least 2 to 3 months to come up with getting some type of ring, putting the engagement together. Again, what men need to do is put that on paper so that we know what that actionably looks like. Did I say that right? Actionably looks like. But I didn't do that. So
Yeah. And so when that didn't happen, and when I realized that he wasn't proposing that day, I was like, oh, so he really got this whole car knowing the engagement ring and my ring size and everything. And for me, it was just like, it made me feel like this car was more of a priority than us getting married, like you getting my engagement ring and taking that next step. After all we had been through, like, I was just like, all right, for real. So I was mad.
yeah.
I was mad and I let him have it.
I understood that fully, but that wasn't even a thought for me, really. Like, I wasn't even considering like that would be a possibility of you being upset. Like, I legitimately thought we were about to go out, have a good time, and just enjoy everything. But the look on your face when we sat down for the first 25 minutes, like you said, you're looking over your shoulder, and once you realized that wasn't happening, there was a face that I cannot really describe.
Yeah, I was heated.
Yeah.
I was done. So, but moving
We done
on
went
from
on
that,
a tangent.
this is a good way of showing them all the things that we, experienced in our relationship.
Yeah.
And so then, a couple months after that, you did propose, which we have a video early on from when we started these videos about like our proposals. So we'll link that. And you did it. It was great, babe. It was a perfect proposal.
Yeah.
It was the perfect proposal.
Yeah, it didn't. I could have. I'll give you this. I could have mapped out doing them both at the same time. That would not have been an issue to do. It wasn't any more work to do it that way. I was totally fine with being able to do that. However, that's just not where my mind was, and you gotta give some grace, cause I just didn't know.
Y'all, it's helling outside. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, that's why it took 5 years for us. to
Yeah. So to
get
answer the
here.
question, why did it take 5 years? It's a lot of answers, and it depends on how much time you got. That's our answer.
Yeah.
Because it's very loaded, but ultimately, I'm happy that it worked out. We got all of the. It really is going crazy outside, but it worked out the way that it was supposed to. And I wouldn't change a thing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I think we definitely needed that time to just grow, like really evolve, really mature. And so, yeah, I'm glad we took our time with it, and now we cruising right along.
Yeah, we good now. So
You good, babe?
yeah,
Did I make you mad?
this was a lot.
We still got Still got some little triggers.
It's was a lot, but you know, we working through it.
Now we got hell the size of golf balls.
It's a lot going on.
It's a lot going on. So we just go ahead and wrap it up.
We'll wrap it up. We'll see y'all on the next one.
Bye.